Alright guys, welcome to today's video where we're going to be repairing these Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. They just have that classic drift going on where the joystick portion of it starts to drift one way or the other, and it's a pretty common problem. It's so common that Nintendo will actually repair these things for you for free. So you may be asking yourself, well, what's the point of this video at all? Well, you still might want to repair these yourself if you have one of the limited edition ones or a custom skin on it, because when you send yours in for repair, it very clearly states in their website that they're not going to send you back the same ones. So then you would end up ordering a kit like this off of Amazon where you can repair it yourself. Now I know I got the regular old ones like this that I should probably just send in and get it done, but that doesn't make for a very good video, so we're going to actually be repairing these today. So before we actually get started on doing this repair, let's talk about the Nintendo repair, because honestly, if you have just regular set like this and you live in North America, you might as well go this route because it is a free repair. So all you have to do is go to this joyconrepair.nintendo.com and fill out the details and you can get them shipped back to them. They make it really clear here down at the bottom that if yours are not the standard colors, you may not be getting the same ones back, which if this is like most repair depots, what they do is as soon as they receive them, they just send you back a different set. So you'd probably never get them back if you were one of these guys. So that's kind of how these repair depots work generally. Like an iPhone, when your iPhone breaks, the reason why you don't get your data back is because you don't even get your phone back. You get a different phone most of the time. So those are just things to be aware of. But yeah, let's actually open up this kit, take a look and see what's included in a kit like this. I will link in the description, probably the one that I have if it's still available. I have had my kit for about a year now before I got into doing this repair. Okay, so let's take a look at everything that is included in the kit. So we'll just dump it out right here. Got a little card. So it comes with, this kit came with 2 sets of the actual joysticks for it, a suction cup, which you will not be needing for the Joy-Con, some hardware, we have some more hardware, and then a paintbrush that you're probably not going to need for much of anything. It comes with 4 screwdrivers, so 2 of them are the proprietary ones you need to take apart the Nintendo stuff, and then 2 of them are just regular Phillips head. Get a pair of tweezers, which might come in use, a spudger type tool, and then another one of the little guitar pick like spudgers. These things are great when you're taking apart phones. I like these a little bit better than these personally. And then some of the little caps that go on there. That's pretty much everything you'd expect to find in one of these kits. I'm not really sure. All right, so let's start with taking the screws off the back cover here. You're going to use a double-aught Y-bit. The numbering didn't really make sense on the ones that came in this kit, so I'm just using one that I know is the right size. So that way I don't strip out my screws. Put them in a little organizer or something so you don't lose them. Okay, so the next thing is going to be to remove the back off of here. So just take your little pry tool and pry the back off. Be gentle taking it off. There is a ribbon cable connecting the two. So you'll see that ribbon cable coming through right there. So let's just lay this back like that, being gentle not to rip those ribbon cables. So the next thing we're going to want to do is unplug the battery from this, so that way we don't damage anything. All right, so to disconnect this battery, we pull straight up on it, but it is pretty tricky to get off of there. So you don't want to be too rough with it, but this is kind of one of the harder parts. So there we go. We've got the battery disconnected, just popped right up. So we kind of pried underneath it. Be careful not to pry on the bottom of the wires and make sure you are getting that, because if you pry on the bottom of the wires, you can break the wire. So next we have to remove this battery from it altogether. Okay, so for removing the battery, use that guitar pick looking tool that came in the kit. You want to get this off of there, but you do not want to deform the battery and damage it, so you just gotta pry it off there. There's a little bit of adhesive on it. The next step is to take these screws off of the mid frame of it. Now, be aware there is another ribbon cable underneath there, so now we're gonna gently flip it over and those 3 screws will fall out, and we have that ribbon cable there. So we don't want to just jerk it or we'll break the ribbon cable. So now is when I would start removing all the ribbon cables so we don't break anything. So this repair can be done without removing all the ribbon cables. The only 2 you really have to remove are the one for the actual joystick portion and this one because it runs over the screw, which is the button there. So these are the only 2 you absolutely have to remove. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these other ones so that way I can move this around and handle it a little bit more for video. Okay, so for removing these ribbon cables, they are a 0 insertion force thing. So you just flip this little switch here and then it will come out very gently. So there we go. We've removed that and we can get it out of the way. The next one that we have to remove is this one. So now we can come and very gently slide that out and it is now out of the way. So now we just have to do this one, which goes to our Joy-Con, or our joystick. Oh, this one does. Normally these things have these little tabs right there. That's what I was reaching for. This one does not, or these do not have those tabs. So there we go, that came off. I wouldn't recommend pulling on one of these like that so hard on the actual cable, but since this one's getting replaced, I'm not too worried about it. So let's go ahead and get that Phillips head screwdriver again and remove the joystick. And then it pulls out. So let's make sure we don't lose these 2 screws. There they are. And we'll put our junk one over there. Okay, so now let's take our new joystick and slide it in there. Just make sure it lines up correctly. And we're just gonna slide it back in there around that gasket. There we go. And just screw it back in. Okay, so from here on out, you just kind of reverse what you did in the beginning. If your trigger fell out like mine did, make sure you put it back in there. All right, so now the blue one's done. Let's do the red one. And it's pretty much the same thing, so I'm just gonna take it apart and kind of fast forward through this. So there are 2 major differences in this controller and the other one. Is you have the little antenna module you have to take off so that it comes out like this, and the screws are in different locations. So we have a screw here and there and there. So let's get into this and getting into this one, revealed another thing to repair here. It looks like my son has broken off this trigger button. I didn't remember any problems with that, but it has clearly been broken off of there. He must have just never noticed or mentioned it. Well, that's going to put a hamper in this repair because that button is in fact broken too. But let me go ahead and finish taking this one out so that way we can see the full procedure for doing this repair. So you saw me disconnect that one. Let's get this guy out of here. And there we go. That is it for disassembling. All what you'd have to do to finish this repair is go backwards from what I just did. So you'd put in your new Joy-Con, screw it in, put those in, and go from there. I am not going to reassemble this one. We will have a future video on repairing this because I'm going to have to order the button so that way I can repair that button. I may actually be able to salvage one of these off of a Nintendo Switch if I still have any parts switches. But that one was broken. This broke off of there, which meant in a matter of time, this would have broken off. And that's your actual button contact in there, where that little piece of metal contacts another piece of metal behind it to make the switch work. That's how these things work. But pretty simple. Okay, so before I wanted to end this video, I'd like to show you that at least the repair worked. So let's come back over here, and I can't click the A button because I don't have the other remote, but there we go, and look at that. So it calibrates just fine. We're not drifting because the old one kind of drifted like that, if I recall right. It was either drifting all the way that way or that way. I think it was like this though all the time. I think that was what I was getting with the old one. But that does repair our drifting stick. This one, actually, this bumper button is broken on it as well. It just hadn't broken all the way free, so I'll be repairing the bumper buttons on both of these Joy-Cons in my next video that I do on the Joy-Cons, which who knows when that'll be. It may take another year until that happens, since these sat here for almost a year waiting on the new joysticks for the Joy-Con. But hey, we'll see. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I apologize that it seems like a incomplete repair at the end of this video, but I don't have the parts to repair the Switch at the moment. That'll make a pretty interesting video because we will have to run some jumpers because 3 of the traces are ripped off. We do have the 2 main traces still that hold it in place, so we'll still have the structural integrity when we replace that Switch. But I'm going to go ahead and get switches for both of them, and then that'll be all what they need to get those back up and running. So that'll make a pretty interesting repair, but it will probably be a little while before I get that video done. But hey, I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys in the next one.